All right, surface area and volume. Question number 1, if the length, width, and height of a closed rectangular box are 10 inches, 7 inches, and 4 inches, respectively, so respectively means in that order, so that means this is the length, since it says length, this is the width, and the height would have to be 4. Okay, so this should say height. So the formula for the volume, it says find its surface area and volume. So let's find the volume first because that's easier. The formula for volume you do need to know. It's length times width times height, okay? So all I'm going to do is multiply the 10 by the 7 by the 4. So I end up getting an answer of 280 cubic inches. Okay, now the surface area is not a formula you have to have memorized. It is on your formula sheet on the back of your blue packet. So the formula, according to your formula sheet, is surface area is 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the height times the width plus 2 times the length times the height. Okay, so all I'm going to do is 2 times 10 times 7 plus 2 times 4 times 7. I'm just plugging in all my information, plus 2 times 10 times 4. Okay, so when I multiply all of those values together, I end up getting an answer of 276 inches squared. Okay, all right, so now question number 2. The circumference of the base of a cylinder is 10 pi, and the height of the cylinder is 6, so I know what h is. Find the volume and the surface area of the cylinder. Now the good news is that the volume and the surface area formulas are both on your reference sheet, so you don't need to have either of those memorized. So let's figure out the volume first. Volume is pi r squared h. Now we know the height is 6, but it does not tell us what the radius is, so we have to figure out what the radius is. We know the circumference is 10 pi, okay? So I would say C equals 10 pi. Or sorry, C equals pi d. That's the formula for circumference. But I know that the circumference is also 10 pi, so I'm just going to plug it in. Divide by pi in order to solve for d. The pi's cancel each other out, which means the diameter is 10. So hopefully you can conclude based on that information that since the diameter is 10, the radius has to be equal to 5. All right, so I'm going to say V equals pi times 5 squared times the height, which is 6. So I get V equals pi times 25 times 6. Plug into your calculator or use your brains to figure out that 25 times 6 is 150. So it asks it in terms of pi, so your answer is 150 pi units cubed. Okay? All right, so now what I need to do is I need to figure out what the surface area is. So look up what the formula is for the surface area. You should end up getting that the formula is going to be surface area equals, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. Okay, so the surface area is 2 pi times 5 squared plus 2 pi times 5 times 6. Okay, so you end up getting surface area equals 2 times 5 squared. You know that 5 squared is 25. Multiply that by 2, you will end up getting 50 pi. All right, plus 2 times 5 is 10 times 6 is going to give you 60 pi. Those are like terms, you can add them together, so your final answer is 120 pi units squared. Okay, we are going to skip question number 3 for right now, and we're going to go on to question number 4, which is really tricky, so make sure you pay attention to this one. Okay, find the volume and the surface area of a rectangular prism with a width of 2x and a height of x minus 5. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. The first thing that we're going to do is find the volume. The volume is easy. Volume is the length is also 2x plus 1. The volume is length times width times height. So I'm going to say volume is equal to 2x plus 1 times the width, which is 2x, times the height, which is x minus 5. Okay, I'm going to rewrite this in a different order so it's not as confusing to me. I'm going to put the 2x first, and then I'm going to say 2x plus 1, and then x minus 5. And the commutative property says it's okay for me to do this in any order that I want. So I'm going to keep the 2x on the outside first, and I'm going to distribute this 2x plus 1 to this x minus 5. Okay, so if I multiply this 2x by this x, I end up getting 2x squared. And if I multiply this 2x by this negative 5, I end up getting negative 10x. Okay, and then if I multiply this 1 to this x, I end up getting positive x. And if I multiply this 1 to this negative 5, I get negative 5. Okay, then now I'm going to combine my like terms here. So I end up getting 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. Distribute the 2x through, you end up getting 4x cubed minus 18x squared minus 10x. So this is the volume. Okay. Alright, so now the surface area is where things get a little bit harder. Okay, so how do I find the surface area? Well, the first thing you're going to need to do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I have a little bit more room. So the first thing you're going to do is write down the formula. Surface area equals 2 LW plus 2 HW plus 2 LH. Okay, so I'm going to write down 2 times the length, which is 2x plus 1, times the width, which is 2x. Alright, plus 2 times the height, which is x minus 5, times the width, which is 2x, plus 2 times the length, which is 2x plus 1, times the height, which is x minus 5. Okay, so then I end up getting surface area equals, this 2 and this 2x can be multiplied together, so I end up getting 4x times 2x plus 1. Alright, and then the same thing goes for this 2 and this 2x. Those can get multiplied together, so I get 4x times x minus 5. Alright, and then lastly, plus 2 times, we already did this multiplication over here, and we got an answer of 2x squared minus 9x minus 5, so I'm not going to redo it. We already multiplied 2x plus 1 by x minus 5. So I end up getting 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. Then I'm going to distribute everything through. Okay, so I end up getting, I'm going to erase this a little bit so I have some more room. So I end up getting surface area equals, this right here ends up being 8x squared plus 4x, okay? And this ends up being 4x squared minus 20x. And then this ends up being 4x squared minus 18x minus 10. When you combine your like terms, you end up getting 16x squared. Combine these guys together right here, and you will end up getting 4 plus negative 20 right here will give you negative 16. Add another negative 18 to that, you get negative 34x minus 10, and then this is your final answer for your surface area.